Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 4 and we are here to discuss the technology in curriculum and pilot testing.
So here are the group reporters. We have Miss Valdera, Mr. Kidnaan, Miss De Leon, Miss Garcia, Miss Goho, Miss Lutino, Miss Ruiz, Miss Sumampong, Miss Tapel, and Miss Villamor. So before we start the lesson proper, I would like to ask Miss Ruiz to lead the prayer.
Let us pray. Lord, thank you for this day. May you guide us in our presentation for today. Grant us knowledge and wisdom as we participate in this online class. In Jesus' name, amen.
And now, let's proceed with the attendance. Can I call the Group 1 leader for the attendance of your group?
Hello, I'm the Group 1 leader and I'm glad to say that all of my members are present for today. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Group 2?
Hello everyone, I am the leader of the Group 2 and I'm happy to announce that all of my members are wearing complete uniform and we hope that we maintain this in the next meeting. Thank you.
The last one, the Group 3.
Good morning everyone, I'm the leader of Group 3 and I'm happy to announce that all of my members are present and they are wearing their uniform. We hope that we maintain this excellence. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So we have prepared here the Energizer, which we're going to skip since we're conducting this through online. Next. So for the short introduction in our lesson for today is technology enhances curriculum delivery through interactive, flexible, and learning-centered approaches. So aside from that, we're also going to tackle about the pilot testing. We're going to discuss this later on. Next. For the first reporter, please proceed.
So hello everyone. Again, my name is Mami Goho and this is my topic for today. So factor for technology selection. Next slide please. So factors for technology selection. When integrating technology into curriculum delivery, educators must consider. So, ibig sabihin po, this is the important thing that teachers should think about when choosing technology. For example, you have an online class. Let's back in the pandemic days. So, online class. For example, you are a teacher of PE subject. So, kailangan mong pag-isipan, kailangan mong i-reflect, ano ba yung mas makakabuti, paano sila matututo. So, halimbawa na lang ito is video presentation. So, gusto mo silang turuan ng basketball. So, mag-iisip ka ng way, paano ba makakatulong, paano mo maituturo sa kanya through online. So, through video presentation, doon mo ipapanood, ipapakita yung mga basic tricks or basic techniques ng basketball. So, next slide po. So, we have alignment with learning objectives. So, the technology must support the intended learning outcomes. So, alignment learning objective is used to ensure the courses intended learning. So ibig sabihin natututo ng mga activities, mayroong ang assessment to make sure na ma-achieve ng student yung goal na dapat nilang maabot o mangyari. So halimbawa sa lesson plan, we have a plan our lesson. Syempre, you need to check every activity para mas mapalapit or mas maintindihan mo yung goal mo. So, kailangan mo iyon to alignment. Kumbaga, from the word alignment, kailangan everything matches. So, meron tayong tinatawag na triangular. Doon nakapalibot yung objective, teaching activities, and also assessment. So, kailangan mong magtanong. For example, anong kailangan ng student mo? Ano ang ituturo mo? And the last, paano ka mag-check ng learning assessment? So, next slide po. So we have accessibility and inclusivity. So must be usable by all learners regardless of socio-economic status or disability. So meaning, mayroong learning materials, lesson activities na dapat lahat magamit ng mga students or learners mo, kahit anong background or physical condition ang meron sila. Katulad na lang ng, for example, yung student mo walang internet connection. So, dapat meron kang alternative or meron kang paraan para makatch up ng mga student mo yung mga miss niyang mga lesson. Okay? So, next slide. So, we have ease of use. So, tools should be user-friendly for both teachers and student. So, meaning or ibig sabihin, ang teacher at student is need to easy to understand and operate. So, kailangan nilang magtulungan pareho. Kung si teacher nagdi-discuss, si listener or yung student mo is nakikinig. Kung si teacher nagtatanong, si student ang nagre-respond. Okay? For example, good morning class, kumain na ba kayo? At ang sasagot yung student, yes po ma'am, kumain na po kami. Okay? So, dapat malinaw. So, mayroong malinaw na paliwanag at mas lalong naiintindihan ng mga student mo. Yun lang po. I'm calling the next presenter.
Thank you, Ms. Goho. So, for my part naman po is cost and sustainability. For the affordability is the initial purchase price and any recurring fees like subscriptions, license must fit the budget. So, halimbawa po, gumagamit po tayo ng internet sa bahay or data. So, dapat po, yung ginagastos po natin doon is kasama lang po siya sa budget. Halimbawa, kung kaya naman siya mag-data ka lang for 1 week, so kung makakatipid ka doon, yun na lang gamitin mo kaysa mag-avail ka ng wifi router na nagko-consume siya for 1 month and 600 yon or up. So kung maglo-load ka lang naman ng 1 week, kung 30 pesos or 50 pesos kaya na, so doon ka na lang sa data mo. Next slide po. Long-term maintenance means considers the cost of updates, repair, energy consumption, and eventual replacement. So dito naman po sa long-term maintenance, kung as long as hindi naman po kailangan ng palitan, kung kaya pa naman po gawan ng paraan na mas makakatipid tayo, much better na gumawa tayo ng way kung paano natin maiiwasan gumastos ng gumastos. Like halimbawa, mayroong tube na nasira. Kung kaya mo naman siyang lagyan ng tape muna, pansamantala, much better na gumawa ka muna ng alternative way bago ka bumili kung kaya naman siyang gawa ng paraan. Next po. Sustainability. The environmental impact of the technology including resource use, waste generation, and disposal. Sabi ko nga po kanina, kung kaya naman siyang gawa ng paraan, much better na gumawa ka muna ng paraan bago mo siya palitan. Kasi meron namang mga bagay na magagawa mo muna ng paraan bago mo muna palitan, di ba? Kasi iisip ka ng way na, ay hindi, pwede ko pa siyang gawa ng paraan. Ay pwede pa siyang maayos in other way bago siya mapalitan. Kasi halimbawa, paano kung kakabili mo lang siya pero mali lang pala yung way mo kung paano mo siya kinabit or paano mo siya ginawa. So, mag-think ka muna. Parang think before you click muna. Ganon yung example po. Next. Letter E, technical support availability. Troubleshooting assistance means sufficient sources, manuals, tutorial, workshops to learn how to use and troubleshoot the technology. So, GADA po, example ko po rito is yung, di ba GADA bumibili tayo ng gadget or appliances, meron siyang manual book. And dun po sa may manual book na yun is naka-indicate yung mga yung pagkakasunod-sunod, step by step kung paano mo siya gagamitin and paano mo siya i-align bago mo siya gamitin. Next po. Adequate training, access to reliable support, channel, help desk, online forums, on-site technicians to resolve technical issues promptly. So dito naman po is meron naman tayong reliable sources na nowadays sa ating generation is ang reliable is yung YouTube. Pagka may gusto kang matutunan na hindi mo ma-ask or someone, ganun di makakatulong sa iyo, ang go on mo is yung YouTube. Marami na kasi, search ka lang na kung anong gusto mong malaman. Si YouTube na yung bahala mag-explain sa iyo, si YouTube na yung magbibigay ng suggestion sa iyo. Next po. Letter F is security and privacy, data protection, measures to safeguard sensitive information from unauthorized access, thief, or misissue. Sa data protection naman po is yung katulad ng ginagamit nating Facebook, Instagram, and whatsoever na social media. And kinakailangan po natin dito ng password na tayo lang po yung nakakaalam para po ma-secure natin yung mga privacy po natin na dapat tayo lang nakakaalam. So kaya kahit sabihin natin, friends, wag po natin ibibigay kasi privacy po natin yun. Sarili po nating information yung nakapaloob po doon. Next slide po. And ethical use. Adherence to moral principles and legal standards in application of technology, respecting user rights and societal values. So dito naman po is yung meron pong ginagamit na application of technology na nagre-respect po sa atin. Katulad ni Meta, meron siyang guidelines na ibinibigay para po sa gumagamit ng Facebook. Di ba po pagka para may sensitive tayo na na-share, inire-remind po tayo ni Meta na eto ginawa mo to, mali to, nabibigyan kita ng suspension or parang mabablock yung account mo kasi gumawa ka ng hindi sumusunod sa rules. Next po. Ayan, yung privacy is ensuring the confidentiality and integrity of personal data collected, stored, and processed by the technology. So, dito naman po yung privacy natin na nako-collect po natin. So, hindi po tayo dapat din click ng kung ano-anong link na pwedeng ma-hack ng kung sino man na manggagaling po sa atin. Next po. So, may I call for the next reporter po?
So for the next one, we're going to talk about the role of technology in curriculum delivery. It only means that how technology helps when it comes to delivering the curriculum in a classroom. Next po. So the first one we have here, the facilitating access to content. It only means that technology helps the students or helps other people to have access when it comes to information. We can access information through online in anywhere and in any time that we want. Like, for example, we have here the e-learning platforms, which is the best example for this, is the Google Classroom that we use in our subjects. Like, in Google Classroom, when the teacher uploads a lesson, we can have an access to that. And aside from that, in e-learning platforms like Google Classroom, we can also access we can also access the quizzes and also the homework. When we say the open educational resources, it's like the videos, video presentation, and articles that we see online. And we have here the digital libraries. When we say digital libraries, it is the library that we can access through online. Like, for example, we have that in our school. We have the online library in our school that we can access. Next po. So the next one, we have here the enhancing engagements. Enhancing engagement, it only means that when it comes to using the technology in curriculum delivery, it only means that it use the delivering of our lesson becomes more interactive and becomes more engaging when it comes to the students. Like, for example, here we have here the interactive multimedia. For the best example of this is when we have the presentation. When we do the presentation, we create this to have the appeal to the audience, to our kung sino man yung makakita nun. So next naman, we have here the gamified learning. The gamified learning is when kapag gumamit tayo ng games, pero may learning din. Hindi lang siya more games, but also may matututunan din yung students doon. And last one, we have here the simulation. It only means that the student does not only listen or read, but they also participate in a certain activity themselves. Next po. So the next one, we have here the promoting collaborations, which is the online forums, shared documents, and virtual group work. So because of technology, it's easy for us to have a collaboration. Like, for example, when we have an activity which needs to the groupings which is when we have a groupings which need to be done immediately, we can use Google Docs when we can edit in real time. And when it comes to creating presentation, we can use Canva, which can also be edited in real time. Next po.
And for supporting assessment, the use of digital tools and method to monitor and evaluate student learning and progress. Sa supporting assessment naman, syempre alam naman natin na alam naman natin na after the lesson is nagko-quiz tayo. So ang isa sa mga example is yung mga quizzes natin for the supporting assessment. And syempre guide learning para alam natin kung may kung may improvement ba yung student natin sa lesson na nagawa natin or sa lesson na pinaliwanag natin, and provide feedback. Syempre yun na yung quiz na kasi doon natin malalaman kung may natutunan ba siya or wala. And sa help adjust instruction, para i-guide natin yung student natin para halimbawa sa mga activities, if ever na hindi sila may maintindihan, kailangan natin sila i-guide para mas maintindihan natin or makapag-adjust sila. And sa encourage reflection, ito naman yung deeper understanding or kailangan natin silang intindihan or kailangan din nila maintindihan kung ano ba yung lesson or kung ano ba yung mga ituturo natin o ano ba yung mga dapat na progress na kailangan nilang matutunan. Next slide, please. Personalized learning. Technology allows learning to adjust and to meet each student needs, performance, or learning style. Ito naman is yung teacher hindi niya na kailangan ipaliwanag kung ano yung lesson. Halimbawa tayo
pag kagaya nung ano tayo nung high school na lang, kailangan mag-recap, 'di ba? Para alam natin kung ano ba yung pinag-aralan natin last week, ganyan. So ito yung hindi na kailangan ng teacher na magpa-recap pa ng same lesson. Ang gagawin niya na lang is i-guide yung mga student kung ano ba yung activity na kailangan nilang gawin. Next slide. Bridging distance, using technology to provide educational opportunities to students regardless of their location. Ito na yung dito na papasok yung mga Google Meet, Zoom, or any other platform that needed ng technology. Katulad ngayon, nagre-report tayo through Google Meet. Ito yung isa sa bridging distance. Kasi ngayon naman usong-uso na yung mga ganito, like yung sa Zoom or Google Meet, 'di ba? Kahit nasan tayo or nasa labas tayo o nasa bahay tayo, nakakapag-aral tayo or tayo sa klase kasi nga meron na tayong mga online platform. Next, please.
So again, thank you, Ms. Sumampong. Pilot teaching or pilot testing or field tryout. This is a process we gather empirical data to support whether the material or the curriculum is useful, relevant, reliable, and valid. Most field testing or tryout follow some of research design. Pilot testing is also known as a pilot or critical phase in curriculum development. It involves the implementation of a newly designed or revised curriculum on a small scale before full-scale adaptation. The primary goal is to evaluate the effectiveness, feasibility, and relevance of the curriculum in real classroom setting. Pilot teachings allow curriculum developers to gather data on student learning outcomes, instructional strategy, materials, and assessment tools. Based on the result, necessary modification can be improved to the curriculum before wider implementation. So the main purpose of these pilot teachings include the testing of feasibility of the curriculum, content, strategies, and materials in actual teaching environment. Identifying gaps or issues, and then gathering feedback, improving instructional design, ensuring alignment of learning objectives, standards, and educational outcomes. So this is the purpose of this pilot teaching. So the process of pilot teaching, the process typically includes the following step: selection of the pilot sites, orientation and training, implementation, monitoring and data collection, evaluation and analysis, revision, and finalization. So pilot teaching serves as a bridge between curriculum design and implementation by identifying potential issues and areas for improvement, and it enhances the quality, effectiveness of educational program. This process ensures that the curriculum is not a theoretical sounds but also practical, viable, responsible of learners' needs. So this is the takeaways of pilot teaching. Pilot teachings provide critical insight that may not have been discovered through theoretical planning alone, and it helped identify contextual challenges such as technological limitation and varying student preparedness. This is all about the pilot teaching. So again, I would call the next reporter, Mr. Kugnaan.
So hello. So let's let's proceed po with the process. So number 1 is select representative schools or classes. So unang-una si generalizability. So dito po is aside from selecting the representative na schools or classes na pipiliin sa generalizability is dito naman pumapasok kung maaari na pwedeng general na kukuha, pwedeng kindergarten, pwedeng elementary, pwede na high school, or pwede na college. Yung magiging participant na magiging pilot teaching na gagawain. So nakadepende po yan kung ano yung need ng pilot teaching kung bakit siya isasagawa. So susunod si identification of social issues. So dito naman is dito natin inaalam kung ano ba yung issue na nire-resolve kung bakit nagkakandak ng pilot testing. Tapos susunod naman si accurate evaluation. So dito natin titignan and lagi natin i-consider kung ano ba yung evaluation or ano ba yung nais natin na kalabasan ni pilot testing and kung ano ba yung pinaka-successful na evaluation na mangyayari sa pagkandak ng pilot teaching rather, okay? So next is credibility. So sa pagpa-plan ng pilot teaching, dito nga sa process is kailangan laging credible yung gagawin na ikakandak while nagtuturo si teacher, si students is nakikinig, and while the pilot teaching is running. So, kailangan laging credible and laging maaasahan yung gagawain para hindi ma-mislead yung pilot teaching na ginagawa. Then, susunod si resource allocation. Pag resource allocation naman, dito naman natin hinahanap kung saan ba kukunin si budget. Maaari na kukunin po siya kay DepEd, maaari naman na si school na lang mismo ang magpapanded para titignan nila kung hanggang saan yung magiging scope ng magiging pilot teaching. Minsan naman po, pag pamalakihan ng gawa, pag si DepEd na po ang kumikilos kapag gusto nila is pag regional, and then mag-a-apply sila ng bagong curriculum para mas titignan nila kung magiging effective yung bago nilang ginawang curriculum, ni-apply nila sa regional, then so on, and later on sa national. So next slide po. Okay, papasok naman po tayo sa trained teacher. So lagi naman na pag nagkakandak ng pilot teaching is si teacher yung nagtuturo, di ba? Siyempre kailangan teacher. Then kailangan silang i-train. Then unang-una si consistent implementation. So dapat po si teacher lagi po nasa isip niya at nasa kamalayan niya na pag nagkakandak na siya ng pilot teaching, dapat consistent yung implementation ng pilot teaching guidelines sa pagtuturo niya. Then susunod is si understanding na innovation. So dapat si teacher, as isa niya kanina, nasa kamalayan niya, nasa isip po niya, kung ano ba yung innovation na gustong i-imply ni pilot teaching, ano ba yung bago na gustong gawin ni pilot teaching para may apply na to sa pagtuturo niya and sa ways of teaching niya. So the third one is teacher buy-in and motivation. So, isang magandang epekto po nitong pilot teaching sa teachers is mas maboost yung confidence nila, mas maboost yung motivation nila para magturo. Then, napapractice din sila. Aside from this, is nabibigyan sila ng additional working experience para mas magawa nila yung trabaho nila ng mas maayos. Especially, umi-effect po ito para sa mga baguhan pa lang po na teacher. So, mas maganda po iyon. Then, the fourth one is data collection and feedback. So, si teacher po ang kukuha ng data collection. Siyempre nga po, nagpa-pilot teaching. So, parang sa madaling salita po, ikinoconsider po si teacher as the researcher. Then, siyempre, yung mga estudyante sa respondents kasi kaya nga nagkakandak ng pilot teaching. So, si teacher ang bahala sa pag-data collect kung may effect ba everyday yung pilot teaching na ginagawa. Siya yung nag-o-observe. Then the feedback comes from the students. Then the last dito is problem solving and adaptation. So, titignan ni teacher kung ano ba yung problema na encounter, then ano ba yung possible kung paano yung possible na solution para mas ma-implement na maayos si pilot teaching. Aside from that is yung adaptation. Kung na-adapt ba ni students yung bagong curriculum, na-adapt ba ni students yung learning with that kind of curriculum. So next po, number 3 is deliver lessons based on the new curriculum. So, dito naman is dinideliver na ni teacher kung ano yung bagong curriculum na ibinababa ni DepEd or ni CHED. So, next, the first one dito is real-world testing. So, dito naman, dahil nga si teacher is nagtuturo na, so dito tinitignan kung umi-effect ba yung new curriculum sa pilot teaching and gumagana ba si new curriculum, kung e-effect din ba ito sa real-world environment, especially kung gagana ba ito sa pangmalakihang audience, kung gagana ba ito na ma-adapt ito ng mga students nationwide. So the second one is assessing student learning. So dito naman nakapokus kung si nalalaman ba or umi-effect ba sa inyong curriculum para si student is matuto. Si student ba ay nakakagawa ng maayos, nakaka-perform ba ng maayos based sa new curriculum na itong ginagawa. The third one is identifying curriculum strengths and weaknesses. So based naman po dito is dito si teacher and the other observators is tinitingnan nila kung si new curriculum ba habang tumatagal or every day by day, week by week si pilot teaching kung ano yung kalakasan niya at ano yung kahinaan niya. Pag yung kalakasan niya is okay, then i-retain iyon. Pag may weaknesses, i-improve para malaman kung ano yung mga bagay na babaguhin para mas mapabuti yung curriculum na ginagawa or yung curriculum na itinetest. The fourth one is evaluating teacher preparedness. So based naman po dito is habang nagtuturo na si teacher, habang dinideliver na niya yung mga lesson, dito rin natitignan kung si teacher ba is magaling magturo. Kung dito rin natitignan kung prepared ba si teacher sa bagong curriculum na ikinakandak. And tinitignan din dito kung si teacher ba is nagpe-perform ng maayos based dito sa curriculum na ini-implement ni DepEd or ni CHED. So last one is gaining feedback. So it comes from the students. Sa students po namumula itong feedback na ito. Tinitignan po pag natapos na po si maaari po kung natapos na po si pilot teaching, titingnan po dito kung effective ba yung si new curriculum na ginagawa. Then aside from that, si teacher din, the same as way. Kung titignan din po na kung okay ba yung kinalabasin ni pilot teaching, then kapag may revision, then magkakantak na lang uli ng panibago if they want to. So nandito nakasalalay kung uulit ba o hindi. Pero majority naman is hindi lang naman ito natatapos sa isang kandak lang. So magkakandak din sila para panibago para mas ma-improve. So once na okay na and masasabi natin na maayos na, then itong si bagong curriculum is ilalabas na based sa kung school fund to, edi sa school i-apply. Then kapag regional na to, si DepEd na yung nagpa-fund, is sila na yung kumikilos para i-apply ito nationwide. So, yun lamang. Thank you po. So, may I call on the next presenter. Maraming salamat po.
Number 4, collect data on performance and engagement. So, dito sa number 4 is kinagather natin yung data dito, both qualitative and quantitative. So, first is observation. Dito sa observation is habang nagtuturo si teacher, ina-observe niya kung si student ba is active yung participation niya or nai-engage nila dun sa topic na tinuturo niya. Second is assessment tools. Dito sa assessment tools, si teacher is gumagamit ng iba't ibang assessment like quizzes, group activities, or participation. And the next is feedback gathering. So si teacher is after niya mag-conduct ng assessment kay student is dito is iniipon niya naman yung feedback galing kay student. Kung ano yung reflection ni student dun sa tinuro niyang lesson or yung mga notes ni student dun sa way ng teaching niya. Next is teacher's reflection. So dito naman sa teacher's reflection is after ni teacher mag-gather lahat ng feedback galing kay student is ninonote niya kung saan si student is mas nag-enjoy or mas naguluhan dun sa topic. So, next is documentation. Wait lang, last part po dun. Number 4. So, documentation. So, dito sa documentation, after mag-gather ni teacher lahat ng data, ni student is i-collect niya yon for evaluation. So, next slide please. So, next is revised curriculum. So, dito sa revised curriculum, ito yung ginagamit para malaman natin yung mga kailangan pang i-upgrade ni teacher. So, dito sa revised curriculum is, first is review results. So, after ni teacher mag-gather lahat ng data, is i-review niya yung results nun, and then i-identify niya yung weak points ni student, kung saan ba si student mas mahina or mas mabilis maka-adapt. So, after niya malaman yung weak points ni student, i-adjust niya yung content niya. So, kung kunwari si student is mahina dun sa lesson niya kung saan is um, nagpa-group work siya. So, pwede niyang i-adjust yung content dun sa group activity na binigay niya or sa topic na diniscuss niya kung saan is mas mabilis makaka-adapt si student. Next is integrate feedback. So, dito naman sa integrate feedback is kino-consider natin yung feedback galing kay student or yung peer feedback kung saan is mas mapapaganda yung lesson design natin or mas mapapalakas nito yung teaching way natin. Next is finalized improvement. So, dito sa finalized improvement, after natin malaman lahat ng data tungkol kay student, kung ano yung weak points nila, yung mga sinulat natin na key points kay student is ipo-finalize na natin yung mga dapat natin i-upgrade kung saan is mas mabilis sila matututo. So, mas mapapadali na to kay student pag ni-revise natin yung curriculum natin. Next reporter, please.
Now let's discuss about monitoring and evaluating curriculum implementation. Next. First, what is monitoring? Next po. So, monitoring is the ongoing process of checking whether the curriculum is implemented as planned. So, when we say monitoring, ito yung continuous or ongoing process ng pag-check kung na-implement ba talaga yung curriculum as planned. So, ibig sabihin, tinitignan natin kung sinusunod ba ng teachers at its students yung mga nakasulat sa isang curriculum. For example, sa lesson plan, di ba sa lesson plan, may section doon na may nakalagay na activities. For monitoring, chine-check natin kung nagagawa ba ng teachers and student yung activities na nakasulat doon sa lesson plan. So dito, sa monitoring, chine-check kung nagagawa ba ng maayos and nagagawa ba ng student during an actual class. So, tatandaan lang natin, pag sinabi natin monitoring, ito yung like watching or checking regularly if checking regularly to make sure na everything is going to according to plan. Next po. What is evaluation? So, evaluation is the systematic assessment of the effectiveness and impact. So, evaluation naman is a deeper process. Hindi lang siya bastang pag-check, but assessing kung effective ba talaga yung isang curriculum. In short, tinitingnan natin kung nakamit ba or na-achieve ba yung isang goals, gumanda ba yung performance ng isang bata, natuto ba sila, nagkaroon ba sila ng knowledge sa tinuturo ng teacher, and evaluation help us decide kung may kailangan baguhin, may kailangan i-improve may kailangan pa i-improve pa ng curriculum. So, yung monitoring, pag-check ng process. While evaluation naman, chine-check natin yung results and impact ng isang curriculum. Next po. So, there are 3 monitoring activities. The first one is, next po. First one is classroom observation. So, dito When we say classroom observation dito, yung pumapasok tayo sa isang classroom to see how the teacher teaches and how student respond. Diba, ito yung ginagawa natin ngayon sa ating FS2 or FS1 dati. Ay, hindi pala tayo. Basta, ginagawa natin ngayon sa FS1 ay FS2 na observation kasi meron tayong part na nag-observe lang and meron tayong part na nagtuturo tayo. So, dito tinitingnan natin yung mga ginagamit ng teacher na strategies at kung paano ito nagiging um, nag-help sa student para matuto sila. Next po. Pangalawa is teacher lesson plan reviews. Dito, chine-check natin yung mga lesson plan ng teacher. So, we look kung align ba yung mga sinusulat, yung mga nakasulat sa lesson plan sa tinuturo ng teachers. So, for example, di ba pag gumagawa tayo ng lesson plan, dito natin tinitignan, parang doon tayo nagbe-base sa mga ituturo natin. So, dapat titignan natin kung yung mga tinuturo at mga sinasabi ni teacher is naka-align dun sa lesson plan na ginawa niya. So, titignan natin yung objectives niya, activities, assessment, sa kung naka-align sa isang curriculum standard. Next, number 3. So, number 3 naman is student work analysis. Dito naman, um, tinitignan natin yung mga outputs ng mga students like quizzes, project, assignments. So, dito tinitignan natin kung may natutunan ba sila during an actual class and kung effective ba yung teaching methods na ginagamit ng mga teachers. Yun lang po sa part ko. Next presenter please. Thank you.
Alright, so let's discuss the three ways, or rather the methods of evaluation. Let's proceed. The first one is surveys and interviews. Surveys, ito yung meron ng mga written questions. While the interviews, ito yung one-on-one conversation. They both collect data from participants. Next. Next one is standardized testing. Ito yung, halimbawa, buong grade 5, iisa lang ang format ng test nila. They assess knowledge, skills, abilities. Kung yun bang si teacher ay talagang effective ang kanyang pagtuturo. Next. Next po. The last one is data analysis of learning outcomes. Ito naman, after makolek na lahat ng mga sagot or data ng isang student, they examine the quantitative or qualitative data. So, bale, dito lahat, mga result nun, kung pasado ba or bagsak ang isang student, kailangan nilang, kung bagsak, kailangan nilang mag-change ng teaching style. Ganon. Next presenter.
So, thank you, Dr. Wiz. So, importance. Next po. So, yung first is ensures curriculum relevance. So, itong function naman to, sinisigurado niya na yung curriculum is remain current and useful. So by its checking consistently and assessing its effectiveness, yung educators can confirm that the material is up to date, meet the needs of the learners, and aligns with the modern educational standard. This prevents the curriculum from becoming outdated or ineffective. Next po. So, yung second naman po sa importance is provide accountability. So, it means monitoring and evaluation offer a way to hold the curriculum and its implementers accountable for achieving learning goals. Ito naman, nagpo-provide siya ng systematic way para ma-determine kung yung curriculum ba is being delivered as intended or if it is producing the desired results in student learning. Next po. So the last would be guides improvements. So it means that the data and feedback is collected na siya during the monitoring and evaluation. So essential yung dalawa na yun para makakuha tayo ng information. Itong information na to is nakakatulong siya para ma-pinpoint yung mga areas na kailangan pa ng improvement. It also allowing for necessary revisions and enhancement to the curriculum. Also, nagpo-provide din siya ng clear roadmap para malaman natin kung paano gumawa ng curriculum ng mas effective at successful in the future. So, that's all po for my part. Thank you po.
And that will be all for our presentation in Group 4. We are going to post the quiz in our GC. Po. Next. Thank you very much for listening until the end. We appreciate it so much and thank you.